Konnichiwa, this is the Shogunstein, and this is some initial thoughts on the game Chang'an, a Kickstarter that was very surprised to actually get from Pendragon and Arcane Wonders. This was originally Kickstarter from another company that was a very sus. They seem to have taken the money and run, and thought the money was gone, thought the game was dead, project was dead, and Pendragon and Arcane Wonders came in and saved the game and got it out. So regardless of anything else I say here in these initial thoughts, I'm glad they got the game out. Kudos to them. I didn't think I'd ever see this game, and they got it out. And it's actually, the production is very nice. So not only did they get the game out, but it's a very nice production. So the fact that this game even exists, the fact that I didn't lose the money and never get to play this game is a win. It's also a reason that I rarely do Kickstarter or GameFound or any of those kind of ways to buy games anymore. This was but the last game that I think I really did back on Kickstarter. So, and that just, it's a terrible business practice. People wonder why board gaming is shrinking and the golden age of board games over. And I'd say, the way the crowdfunding in some of these very sus campaigns is a big reason why. But kudos to Pendragon, Arcane Wonders for getting this game out. And it's actually a very nice production. There's a very nice insert in here. The components are nice. Your wheat and stone. You got nice, components. The card art is nice enough. The reason I backed this game is I like engine builders, and I like, the ancient Chinese theme here. This is basically what modern day Xi'an is. Old capital during the Tang Dynasty, Han Dynasty, Xi'an, Silk Road. I really like the theme. I like engine building type games like, It's a Wonderful World and, Splenda and, Century Spice. So I like those types of games. And overall, it's a very nice production. You got the wood, you got your stone, you got your wheat, nice organizer. The boards are good quality. The instructions were easy to follow. I actually had a decent instruction book. I don't think I had to look up anything. The instruction book was fine. So not only did they get this game out, but they actually, it's nice. When I heard someone else was taking it over, I was just lucky that, they'd send a game. There's a different Kickstarter that I had a few months ago I got, and it had been delayed a long time. And when it came out, I really got the impression that they just put out what they put out, whether it was broken or not. And this is not broken at all. It's a very nice production to put out a nice game. Now, my initial thoughts at one player and at two players is that it was fine. It was a good game. We'll play it more, but initially, it worked. It was good with the combos. Little Shogunstein has a much more mathematical mind than I do, and he very quickly figured out the combos and was able to get a machine that I just couldn't beat. The solo mode is easy to follow. You play with two decks instead of three at two players. The solo rules were easy to find. The automata, has some different levels in here that you can put in to make the game, harder or not. So you can add like the 3-star card and make it a little harder. So again, it's a working, functioning game that, I just didn't even expect to get this game. So it's fine. But the one thing that I would have, and this is something that will change, but my one initial criticism, and this hopefully will change with more plays, but they give you this card which gives you the effects, this player aid. But it really needs one of these for each player. And again, this was a production that they saved, so I'm glad there's a player aid in here. And the explanations are good, but the problem that I had, especially since this is an engine building and you're flipping cards and taking cards and you got to build combos, is there's a lot of symbols that you have to learn. Symbols for whether or not the function is, a permanent or a character or something that's endgame scoring. So not only do you have to pay attention to what the scoring aspect of it is, but there's just a lot of symbols. And I found in playing, we're going back and forth and we have to make copies of this card, but it just kind of slowed the gameplay down. So I imagine with more plays, it'll be easier to know what everything means. But again, with more plays, we were playing with the standard game. There's also a Silk Road expansion. There's an Empress expansion. So that adds more things and more symbols. So again, my one criticism initially, and again, this is something that will change with more plays, is there's just a lot of symbols. And it's a lot to get down. It's a lot to remember. And when you're passing the player aid back and forth, which is well written, it explains everything well, it just slowed the games down. Again, more plays, it'll be easier, but you're going to bring someone new into the game. You're going to have 4 people playing. It's going to slow it down. So I think that they just need to maybe have a way to print up some individual player aids, or you just got to play it a lot and figure out what everything means, and that comes with more plays. But overall, it was a fun game, and again, easy to learn the actual rules of the game. It's not a very complicated game to learn. The rule book, very well written for the regular play and the solo play, which again is a lot. The last games that I've gotten, the rule books have been terrible, to where the point where you got to go to that terrible website, BGG, and there's all these, you got to read all the comments, you got to go download different versions of the rule book, and I hate that I had to join that, that nasty little website again to be able to access some of these rule books. But the last couple of games that I got before this, the rule books were terrible, and the only way to play was to go onto that site and download new versions. This rule book, for a game that shouldn't have even come out because it was dead, they put out a good rule book. The player aid is good. I just wish there were more of them. And again, my one criticism is that there are just a lot of symbols to learn. Overall, fun game if you like engine building. So again, another one that I can compare it to is like Gnar, where again, you kind of, using cards to build the engine. And if you like games like Gnar and It's a Wonderful World, I think you're going to like this. And I just like this theme better. I like the theme of, East Asia, East Asian history and culture, whether it be, in this case, China or Japan. So it's a more thematic game for me. Anyway, those are my initial thoughts on Chang'an. This is the Shogunstein out.